Hello everyone and welcome to a truly amazing game from the 1997 Maroczy Memorial Tournament featuring Suat, Atalik and Gyula Sax. And it comes as a suggestion from a subscriber, Yonetman. Thank you for recommending such a gem of a game. I know Yonetman has been subscribed to the channel for maybe even since its beginnings, so I'm very happy about that he's still very active. And the game is truly amazing. Suat Atalik, at the time, he was representing Bosnia and Herzegovina. Later on, he represented Turkey. Then later on, Serbia. Faces Hungarian legend Gyula Sax. And Gyula, I mean, was such an incredible player. He died in 2014, 10 years ago. And there's even a game in 1979 he defeated former world champion Vasily Smyslov in an endgame, which is unthinkable. And I mean, it was an equal endgame. He participated in the candidates tournament twice. Once he was eliminated by Viktor Korchnoi, another time by Nigel Short. So I mean, all in all, truly an exceptional player, which makes this game even more impressive. So yeah, let's dive straight into it. And also, I will share what Judith Polgar said about Gyula Sax after his death in 2014. Judith said that Gyula Sax was one of the greatest chess players of Hungary. He was the first grandmaster who treated me as a fellow chess player when I was only 9 years old. He was ready to analyze positions with me and shared ideas, and by doing so, he gave me a lot of self-confidence. Later, I met him in many different occasions. We played against each other and played in the national team together. He was also an Olympic gold medalist and a fantastically energetic attacking player, as you will see in this game. So let's check it out. Suat with white opens with pawn to d4. We have knight to f6, pawn to c4, e6, knight to c3, and bishop to b4. You know it's going to be a good game when it starts with the Nimzo. Queen to c2, the classical variation, and nowadays castles and c5 are more popular, but d5 still a very solid third by popularity. a3, bishop captures, and now as you've played queen to c2, it makes sense to capture with the queen. We have knight e4, attacking the queen, also getting an excellent central square for the knight, queen to c2, and now again, in modern chess, probably c5 is more preferred. We have knight to c6 by Gyula, and pawn to e3. We have pawn to e5, okay, your king is still in the center of the board, but so is the white king, and you have only one move that you need to make the castle. White still has to move the knight and the bishop before castling. And here we have c captures on d5. Now, interestingly, you could also play pawn to f3 here, but it just looks like you shouldn't. The point is that you can, and after queen to h4 with check, g3, knight captures on g3, now you have queen to f2, and it seems like, okay, knight to f5, we just offer a queen trade, but c captures on d5, and black really has nothing to show for this little exhibition here. You will move the knight, and okay, the game continues, nothing really happening here. You can even capture on e5. So after this e5 move, c captures on d5, attacking the knight, queen captures on d5, and now bishop to c4. Now this was all theory at the time. Maybe at the time it was fairly new, but there are many games with this exact same setup in the database. Queen to a5 with check, only move, pawn to b4, and knight captures on b4. Now of course you cannot capture, the rook is undefended. But there's queen captures on e4, boldly facing in the direction of the double check, knight to c2, opening up a discovery, and now king to e2. Only good move. Now, king d1 can be played, king to f1 of course cannot because of queen to e1 checkmate. So king to e2, and now queen to e1 with check. Look at this, king to f3, knight captures on a1, and now bishop to b2. The bishop is hanging, so you have to do something about that. Bishop to b2, and now castles king side. And now, okay, your king is safe, and you are ready to go after the white king on f3. So what can white do? There is only one good move here, and this game features many pause the video moments, and I could even make this one of them, but I'm not going to. I don't want to torture you guys. But the point is that, let's say play something like d captures on e5. Already bishop to e6, and the white is lost here. There's no good move that you can make here, because now you can't really capture, as you would open up the path to the white king, and also black is already threatening to get the knight back into the game via knight b3, as the b3 square is now covered by the bishop. So the only move here is king to g3, and this is now extremely complicated. Just to give you an example of what you should play here, you should play pawn to h6. And now after pawn to h4, the idea behind king to g3 is to bring it over to h2 so you can develop the knight and that the rook will be defended. Let's say rook e8, king to h2, and now queen captures on f2. Look at this. Bishop captures on a1, bishop to f5 attacking the queen, but now knight to h3 attacking the black queen, where we can even trade queens, but also you can play bishop captures on h3. Now rook to f1 attack the black queen, and after bishop captures on g2, you capture on g2 with the queen. Queen captures on h4, queen to h3, and now you trade queens. Captures, and you have this rook and two bishop versus two rooks, where, okay, the bishop pair is very strong, but, I mean, black is up 3 pawns and has an intact pawn structure. All in all, this is an equal position. So just to give you an idea of how complicated this position is. But okay, king to h8 was played here. Probably theory about this particular setup stopped somewhere around here. I don't have the clock times, but I imagine it required quite a bit of calculation. And now d captures on e5. We have bishop to e6, the move that we said that was really awesome for black while the king was on f3, but now the king is on g3 and it is very much different. And also king to g3 serves another purpose, but I'm not just gonna tell you what it is. Feel free to pause the video and try to find the only winning idea for Suat while I give you a couple of seconds. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on always looking for new amazing ways to sacrifice even more material. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is knight to f3 or h3. It doesn't matter because knight is coming to g5. That is all that matters. So it doesn't matter if you go via f3 or h3. And now you're offering a full rook, but should you capture the rook? The problem is, even if you don't capture the rook, there really aren't that many squares for the black queen. a5 is your only square. So other than a5, you don't have a square. And if you go to a5, then knight g5 threatens checkmate, and after something like g6, queen to h4, and now after h5, queen to f4, and there's no good defense here. Queen to f6 is coming. You can play something like king to g8, but now knight captures on e6 and something like this, and it will not be possible to defend all of the threats here. So instead, after knight f3, okay, you might as well capture the rook. There's nothing better. Queen captures on h1 was played, and now knight to g5. Threatening checkmate here, so pawn to g6, and now the question is what to play here. The position is very similar to what we've discussed with queen to a5, but also very different. Feel free to pause the video here and win the game for Suat while I give you a couple of seconds, and it will give me enough time to fix the camera. There we go. So for those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on not following in the footsteps of the previous variation. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it is knight captures on f7 check. And while I will show you why this is so impressive, I also want to show you why queen to h4 doesn't work here, because it's just crazy. Pawn to h5, like in the previous line, queen f4, now king to g8, and now knight captures on e6. Which would be perfectly fine, but now it isn't. F captures, and now after queen to h6, there's this very nasty pawn to h4 check move. And the queen being on h1 instead of on a5 makes all the difference here, because now you cannot capture. Queen captures on h2 is a problem. You have to go king to h3, and now look at this, rook f3 check, inviting captures for the queen to get to f3. So we're just going to play g3, and now just rook to e8. And it's unbelievable that this is even playable. Queen captures on g6 check, king to f8, queen h6 check, even king to e7, inviting queen captures on e6. And once you get to d8, you've escaped, and now it's probably black who will be attacking the white king here. So that's why after this pawn to g6 move, it's very different. Knight captures on f7 is the only path to victory. You cannot capture with the bishop. You immediately allow the opening of this diagonal, and then after something like king g8, queen e5, and checkmate is unstoppable. So the rook has to capture. Rook captures on f7, bishop captures on e6, and now rook to g7, sidestepping the bishop. But now there's again only one move that wins the game here, and it's truly a remarkable one. Feel free to pause the video for the last time and win the game for Suat Atalik while I give you a couple of seconds. The move you all found, I hope, is bishop to f7. Only move that wins. Yes, it seems like you can move the bishop anywhere because once you play e6, you're winning the game, but it's not. Let's say you play bishop to a2. What's black's move? Queen to e1. There are other moves, but queen to e1 is sufficient. You want to go after the f2 pawn, and after e6 now, the problem is there's rook to f8, and this gives black enough counterplay. White's position is very nice, but it's just not enough. You can capture on g7, king captures. You can even go queen to d4 with check, rook to f6, and you always have this problem of the f2 pawn hanging. There's just no good way to handle that, and you will have enough for a draw. It's still very complicated. Something like e7 can be played, queen captures on f2, king to h3, something like queen f5 check, pawn to g4, queen to f1 check, and you will have to settle for a perpetual here, something like king h4, queen to f2 check, king h3, queen f3 check, king h4, and so on and so on. But that's the problem. The move you had to find is bishop to f7 because this prevents the f2 pawn from being attacked. Now queen to e1 will not do anything. You will just play pawn to e6, and rook to f8 does not come with tempo. That's the whole difference. So here rook captures on f7 was played, but now pawn to e6 with check, and if you go to g7, that will not really work. If rook to g7, then the queen will just come to d4, and you cannot defend. Rook to g8, okay, you stop checkmate, e7. And now after knight to c2, attacking the queen, you just capture on g7 and bring a rook. It is much cooler to checkmate this way. The rook is pinned, rook to e8 will be checkmate. So after e6 check, king to g8, but now queen to d4, threatening queen to h8 checkmate, king to f8, and now e captures on f7. We have king captures on f7, and now queen d7 check, and he was in this position on move 26 that Hungarian legend Gyula Sax resigned the game, as there is nothing more to be done here. It seems like a much longer game, but in reality it is only 26 moves. We've just shown a lot of lines, and the point is, if you go to g8, then queen, of course, g7 is checkmate, and if you don't, if you go somewhere like king to f8, it's still a matter of a few moves, and you will get checkmated. Bishop to f6, there's no defense against queen e7 checkmate. It is that simple. So yeah, once again, thank you, Jonathan, for recommending such a gem. Really a beauty. I could have made many more pause the video moments, but I thought 3 is enough for any man. So there you have it. I would like to thank Vicky Hackney, Meadow, the Super Chess Dog, Darren Little, Jerry Drever, and the Animated Chemist for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon. Continuing to check up on your wonderful suggestions, such as this one, and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.